let's recap a few important aspects about the test execution report. After we have executed a test, we need to take a look at the report and first determine if the execution is valid for the scenario we are testing. And we need to begin right at the top of the report. For example, we can see here what kind of an execution this was. Was this executed locally, or were we using the K6 Cloud to run this? Which script has been used? And apart from this, we also have here information about the scenarios. For example, how many virtual users did we use? Was it the right duration? And generally information about what we were trying to do. So definitely check again if the duration and the number of virtual users looks right. If it doesn't, then the rest of it doesn't matter anyway. Apart from this, there are also other things we should look at to assess if this was a valid test execution. For example, we can take a look here further down and take, for example, a look at the rate. How many requests per second have we actually sent here? Does it look like a valid rate? In this case, I have 9.8 requests per second, so almost 10 requests per second. Is this something that we expect? Is it too much? Is it too low? For example, if there's only one request per second, then we definitely haven't put a lot of load on the system. Actually, almost no load at all. Also, does the number of requests that we have sent look valid? Are they way too many requests, or maybe just a few requests and we actually, again, have not really reached the goal that we wanted? The same can be the numbers of iterations. So for example, if we're testing an e-commerce application, maybe you want to make sure that a certain number of customers go through the funnel of viewing a product, adding that product to the cart, and finally placing an order. So maybe we are aiming for a certain number of iterations, in this case, orders, that need to happen in a certain amount of time. So essentially to test, is this system able to handle so many requests that happen per minute, for example? Apart from this, we also need to ensure that any checks that we have here have been successful. So if we have written checks, and we should have written checks, they need to be valid. And remember, in terms of checks, it's not enough to just check the status code. Also need to check the response body, because sometimes we may get a 200 status code and the response body says something like error, and this is definitely not good. And even better, want to make sure that these checks have actually been added to the thresholds, so that also K6 can keep an eye on them. And then, once we have established that this is a valid run, then it makes sense to dig into other metrics, for example, the HTTP request duration, or even better, this submetric, which only counts the requests that have been successful according to a definition. So don't underestimate the importance of establishing if the test execution itself is valid. If it's not valid, we need to go back and fix it and run it again so that it matches what we actually planned in the beginning.